Have you ever considered what you would do if the ultimate choice wasn't a judgment, but simply a destination you picked from a brochure? This is the story of a man who faced that very choice. A man named Arthur, who found himself at the crossroads of eternity. Arthur's last breath on earth was a quiet, unassuming sigh. One moment, he was in a sterile hospital room, the soft beeping of machines his final lullaby. The next, he was standing in a vast, impossibly white foyer. The air hummed with a serene energy, and beings of pure light, who introduced themselves as angels, glided around him. There was no thunderous voice from the heavens, no grand tribunal, no unrolling of a scroll detailing his life's every sin and virtue. Instead, one of the angels approached him with a gentle, almost corporate smile. "Welcome, Arthur," the angel said, its voice a symphony of wind chimes. "There has been a change in celestial policy. Henceforth, there will be no judgment. You are free to choose where you will spend the rest of eternity, heaven or hell. The choice is entirely yours." Arthur blinked, processing the information. No judgment, just a choice? It seemed too simple, too modern. He had spent his entire life listening to sermons, reading scriptures, and steeling himself for a final reckoning. This felt anticlimactic. "You mean I just pick?" he asked, his voice a little hoarse. The angel nodded. "That's it." A lifetime of conditioning made him suspicious. "Well," Arthur began, a shrewd glint in his eye, a remnant of his days as a businessman, "I wouldn't buy a car without a test drive. I demand a tour. I need to see both places before I commit to an eternity in either." The angels conferred for a moment, their whispered conversation like the rustling of 1,000 silk leaves. Then, the lead angel turned back to him. "Your request is unusual, but it is granted. We believe in informed decisions." With a soft chime, a sleek, pearlescent elevator materialized before him. The doors slid open, revealing a plush interior. The angel gestured. "This will take you to your first destination." Arthur stepped inside, and the doors closed. A small, illuminated button simply read down. He pressed it. The elevator descended with a smooth, silent speed that belied the immense distance it was traveling. A subtle warmth began to seep through the walls, not unpleasant, but noticeable. When the doors finally slid open, Arthur was met not with fire and brimstone, but with the pulsing beat of a fantastic song. He stepped out into what looked like the most exclusive, high-end nightclub he had ever seen. The air was filled with the aroma of gourmet food and expensive perfume. A long, elegant bar was staffed by impossibly beautiful women with dazzling smiles, who were mixing and distributing colorful drinks in crystal glasses. Music, a mix of classic rock and vibrant jazz, filled the space, and people were dancing, laughing, and conversing in animated groups. To his astonishment, Arthur recognized several faces. There was his old college roommate, a notorious party animal, raising a glass in a toast. He saw a famous musician he'd admired, jamming on a guitar with a look of pure bliss. And in the center of it all, holding court from a comfortable leather armchair, was the devil himself. But this was not the grotesque, horned monster of legend. This was a charismatic, debonair figure in a perfectly tailored suit, exuding an aura of charm and magnetic confidence. He looked up, caught Arthur's eye, and gave him a friendly, welcoming nod. Arthur walked through the crowd, a sense of wonder growing within him. "This isn't bad at all," he murmured to himself. He saw his old boss, a man who had been ruthlessly ambitious, now engaged in a lively debate, a wide grin on his face. There was no inferno, no suffering, no torture pits. It was a perpetual party. The beautiful bartenders offered him a drink, and the food laid out on long tables looked more delicious than anything he'd ever eaten on earth. His old friends clapped him on the back, telling him how great it was to see him and how much fun they were having. The place felt alive, exciting, and full of energy. Hell, it seemed, was the universe's best-kept secret. After what felt like a few hours of mingling and observation, Arthur knew he had to complete his tour. He reluctantly made his way back to the elevator, the sounds of laughter and music fading as the doors closed. The ascent was cool and peaceful. When the doors opened back in the white foyer, the angel was waiting for him, its expression serene and patient. "And now for the second part of your tour," it announced. Another elevator appeared, this one with a button that simply read up. As he ascended, a sense of profound peace washed over him. The light grew softer, more golden, and a celestial choir could be heard, their harmonies so perfect they seemed to weave the very fabric of the air. He stepped out into heaven, and it was every bit as beautiful as the stories had promised. The landscape was a breathtaking panorama of lush, green fields, sparkling rivers, and gentle, rolling hills under a sky of perpetual, soft dawn. Angels with magnificent wings drifted lazily on the breeze, their songs of praise echoing through the valleys. People in flowing white robes sat in quiet contemplation, strummed harps, or walked through pristine gardens, their faces filled with a calm, beatific joy. There were no problems, no worries, no pain, only an endless, tranquil serenity. It was perfect. It was peaceful. And to Arthur, after the vibrant energy of hell, it was a little boring. He spent some time there, observing the quiet bliss, the gentle smiles, the overwhelming placidity of it all. It was nice, certainly, but it lacked the spark, the excitement, the raw, unfiltered humanity he had just witnessed below. There was no passion, no ambition, no thrilling edge. After a while, he returned to the elevator, his mind made up. When he arrived back at the central foyer, the angels looked at him expectantly. Arthur took a deep breath, a triumphant smile spreading across his face. "We have been lied to," he declared, his voice booming in the quiet hall. "All of us on earth, we were completely misled. The bishops, the priests, the holy books, they all got it wrong." The angels tilted their heads, listening patiently. Hell isn't a bad place at all. In fact, it's a fantastic place. It's full of life, music, and interesting people. "Honestly," he said, leaning in conspiratorially, "I think heaven is boring. There's no excitement, no challenge. I'd much rather go to hell. I choose hell." The lead angel simply nodded, its expression unchanging. "As you wish, Arthur. The choice is yours." Without another word, he was ushered back to the first elevator, the one marked down. He stepped inside, a thrill of anticipation running through him. He couldn't wait to rejoin the party, to see his friends, to live out eternity in a state of hedonistic bliss. The elevator began its descent, but this time, something was different. The pleasant warmth he'd felt before was rapidly intensifying, becoming a dry, scorching heat that made him sweat. A low, ominous rumbling replaced the elevator's silent glide. The air grew thick and acrid, smelling of sulfur and burnt metal. When the doors groaned open, the scene that greeted him was a nightmare ripped from the most terrifying pages of Scripture. The vibrant nightclub was gone. In its place was a desolate wasteland of jagged rock and rivers of molten lava. The air, now a suffocating, blistering heat, was filled with a cacophony of screams and agonizing wails. Demons, monstrous and cruel, roamed the landscape, tormenting the damned with whips of fire and instruments of torture. And in the center of it all, on a throne of black, obsidian rock, sat the devil. The charming suit was gone, replaced by his full, terrifying regalia. His skin was blood red, a long, barbed tail twitched behind him, and massive, curving horns sprouted from his forehead. In his hand, he held not a cocktail glass, but a massive, gleaming pitchfork. He looked at Arthur, and this time, his smile was not friendly. It was a malevolent, predatory grin. Arthur stumbled out of the elevator, his bravado evaporating in the searing heat. He saw his old roommate, no longer partying, but chained to a rock, his face a mask of eternal agony. The beautiful bartenders were now revealed to be hideous harpies, their laughter turned to cruel cackling. The music was gone, replaced by the endless symphony of suffering. Shaking with terror, Arthur stumbled towards the throne. "Hello. Hello, sir," he stammered, his voice barely a whisper. "You remember me, don't you? I was just here. It was just moments ago, and it was a party. What happened? How has everything changed so drastically?" The devil let out a low, rumbling chuckle that sounded like grinding rocks. He leaned forward, his eyes burning like hot coals. "Ah, yes, I remember you," he hissed, his voice a venomous rasp. "When you came here before, we were campaigning. Now, the election is over. This is the real deal." The moral of this story is a timeless one. Evil is a master of deception. It often presents itself in an attractive, alluring guise, promising pleasure, excitement, and instant gratification. It campaigns with a smile, offering a world of temptation that seems too good to be true. But once you've made your choice, once you've been lured in, the mask comes off. The beautiful facade crumbles to reveal the ugly, painful, and destructive reality that was always waiting underneath. The initial allure of evil is just a marketing campaign. Its true nature, the outcome, is always, and will always be, just that, evil. If you enjoyed this story, please like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more epic stories that make you think.